श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। ध्यायामो धवलावगुण्ठनवतीं तेजोमयीं नैष्ठिकीं स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीं वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिक्तसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकामीश्वरी।
Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen. A happy Women's Day and a warm welcome to the International Women's Day event of the Center for Women's Empowerment and Gender Equality. My name is Madam Alkoyak. I'm going to be your moderator for this event. And I would like to hand over now to Dr. Bhavani to open up this beautiful event and welcome our guest. Thank you very much. Dr. Bhavani, I hand over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Malcolm, and good morning, everyone on this side of the world. And for those of you who have joined us from the other side of the world, what can I say? You're ahead of your time. The Amrita Center for Women Empowerment and Gender Equality welcomes you all to the 2021 International Women's Day celebration. Hopefully by the year 2030, we will not need a day to dedicate it to women alone, and we would be instead celebrating gender equality and having achieved a status of gender equality in the world. But coming back to 2021, we are in the aftermath of the COVID-19 disaster. We are faced with an exacerbation of existing and an upheaval of buried vulnerabilities. And it says that actually this disaster will actually push back the progress that we have made as a society on several fronts, and especially on the aspects of gender equality and women's empowerment. And so bracing ourselves for a stormy future, but with the heart to make a difference, we all gather here this morning to renew our pledges and our plans for a better future for women and for men, and in harmony with nature. And of course, under the leadership of our beloved Chancellor, Amma, we feel confident and we feel inspired. Joining us in this effort are people with great hearts and great minds and great wisdom. We are happy to call them our friends, our well-wishers, and our colleagues. And it's with great pleasure that I will introduce you to all the esteemed colleagues over here who have gathered here for this program. We have with us Madam Charu Sinha, IPS. She is the Inspector General of CRPF for the Srinagar sector in Kashmir. She is joining us this morning. A quick introduction to somebody who is a role model and an officer. She is a role model to women across the entire country. Charu ma'am is currently posted as the IG for the Srinagar sector. She is the first woman to actually hold this position. Before that, she was with the CRPF as an IG. She was in Bihar, and she was focusing on anti-Naxal operations. She has had key roles in the government of Telangana and of Andhra Pradesh. And in her position, she has managed to very skillfully and very successfully deal with a lot of challenges and a lot of problems. She's handled extremely violent factional feuds, communalism. She has led the fight against corruption. She has been in charge of anti-terrorist and extremist operations, and ensured large-scale surrenders of extremists with their weapons and rehabilitation of those who had surrendered. She's worked with tribal populations in educating them, bringing about a change in their social and their economic issues. She is also on deputation to the United Nations peacekeeping force in Kosovo in Europe, in an area that was torn by conflict between the Albanian Muslims and the Christian Serbs. Here she was actually handling the watch unit of the then Prime Minister of Kosovo, Ramush Haradinaj. I'm not sure if I said his name right, but he was being tried for war crimes. And she has also worked for the restoration of property rights for HIV positive women, affected women and children who were thrown out of their homes. So she's not just a military officer, but she's an officer with a heart. So she's dealt with both violence, issues of violence, corruption, but at the same time, issues of social justice. And so we're very, very happy to have Charu ma'am with us, and a very warm welcome to Charu ma'am. Would everybody please give her a round of applause?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for being with us. We also have with us Nidhi Zakaria IP. She is a poet, a pacifist, and a fabulist. That's the first time I added that word to my vocabulary, a fabulist. I'm sorry, I think I've lost power over here, but she's the founder of the Play It Forward Fellowships for Underrepresented Writers and a Global Peace Ambassador with the Institute of Economics and Peace. She is the recipient of a Next Generation Artist Award in Literature from the Arts Council of Ireland and the inaugural Ireland Chair of Poetry Award. She serves on the advisory board of the Ledbury Poet Critics in Ireland. A very warm welcome to Nidhi Zakaria, IP. Please welcome her. We have with us Mr. Jeff Robinoff. Mr. Jeff Robinoff is somebody who has been a friend and a supporter of our work for many, many years now, from 2011. He is the founder and the CEO of Studio 8, a multi-platform media company and a champion of filmmaker-driven content, prioritizing their unique insight and creative vision. Jeff Robinoff and his Studio 8 team recently announced upcoming collaboration with the film industry heavyweights, Warner Brothers, Sony Pictures, on projects called Black, which is a featured adaptation of the Black Mask comic series, and Adulting, which is a high concept family comedy. This is in addition to their strategic partnership with Foster's Studios, which includes, which is introducing new films, which includes Hypnotic and Mindfall. Prior to launching Studio 8, Robinoff served as the president of Warner Brothers Pictures Group, where he played an integral role in the development and growth of the division, created a singular vessel of integrating the studio's production, marketing, and distributing operations. Robinoff oversaw the impressive sequence of award-winning content, along with some of the most commercially successful and critically acclaimed films and franchises in recent memory, including the Dark Knight trilogy, the Hangover films, Inception, Argo, and Gravity, which won, I think, over 7 Academy Awards, including the Best Director. Under Robinoff's leadership, the division crossed the $1 billion mark every year since 2002, both in domestic and in the international box offices. Jeff Robinoff has been a very strong supporter and a dear friend of our works in 2010. He actually sponsored the first mobile vocational education concept of a solar-powered classroom on wheels. And this concept has every year featured in the Niti Aayog's best practices on skill development since the time it was launched. And so we appreciate his continued support of the work that we do. Also joining us is Mr. Zach IP. He's an entrepreneur, a mentor, and a consultant for over 50 years experience working across the Middle East, India, and Africa. He specializes in planning, development, and implementation of large-scale industrial and renewable energy projects. He's an advisor to the government of Oman on projects relating to healthcare and education, and is currently promoting the establishment of a super specialty hospital and a medical college in Oman. And this is in collaboration with the Amrita Hospital, Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences in Kochi. Also, I think we have, I don't know if Kelly has joined us, but she was due to join us, and I think she will probably join us. I will just anyway introduce her, whether she's joined us, and I think also, I think somebody will join us in very shortly is Kelly Catron. She is the CEO and founder of People's Revolution. It is a multifaceted communications and branding firm headquartered in New York City. She's a 2-time New York Times national best-selling author. She has appeared consecutively for the past decade on several television shows: The Hills, The City, Kel on Earth, The Kelly Catron Project, Dr. Phil, and she served as a judge on America's Next Top Model for 2 seasons, for the seasons 18 to 22, along Tyra Banks. And I think we just got a message that Johnny Guest also joined. These are the panel of these people will play a very important role in some of the upcoming projects that we will be announcing. Very warm welcome to Johnny Guest. Also, Johnny works in media. Sorry, there's an echo. Yeah, so in media and advertisement, and she's joining us from the UK. Can you mute that, please? Very warm welcome to all our guests. Thank you for joining us. And we have a very exciting line of, very happy that we are with everybody to share the launch of some very exciting initiatives from the center. We believe that we believe will support the cause of women empowerment towards gender equality. And introducing these short projects is a short video that give you an overview of what we hope to see this year.
On International Women's Day, we celebrate the numerous achievements and contributions to society by women from all over the world. Here are some new initiatives that will make a positive difference for women. The Reika Memorial Scholarship Award for Women's Empowerment in Education is an endowment fund of 30 lakh Indian rupees, providing financial aid to talented female students in the Masters of Social Work program at Amrita. Our first annual short film competition unveils today. The Gender Etiquette film competition will promote awareness on gender-sensitive behaviors and etiquette. Using media as a creative platform, university students can submit short and engaging films that open up a dialogue about gender etiquette and promote kindness and mutual respect. As lockdowns have curbed in-person gatherings, we've found a way to use technology to sustain vital community programs for women. The Smart SHGs project focuses on the socio-economic empowerment of women's self-help groups in northern India. Using communication technologies as a platform, Smart SHGs will help women create viable business models and create a supportive technology-based network. Vulnerable populations, especially women, are often marginalized during times of adversity. Women in Sustaining the Environment, WISE, promotes women's empowerment and sustainable water governance by supporting women's participation in the choice, maintenance, and management of water resources, along with other sustainable development practices. The lockdown has shifted most education systems into online learning spaces. But when technology breaks down, many individuals' lives are disrupted. They cannot even afford to repair or replace their devices. Moreover, a lot of unwanted e-waste is generated through disposable tech. Our solution, Greening the Mobile Technology Lifecycle, turns e-waste into an opportunity and lengthens the life cycle of devices. Women will be trained in mobile phone and tablet repair skills and given direct support to incubate their businesses. They will be empowered to devise and lead e-waste initiatives and to repair and recycle broken electronics. In the words of our Chancellor, Amma, women have the willpower and creative energy to do any type of work. Whatever the form of action, women can attain extraordinary heights, and this is true especially on the spiritual path. May every day be International Women's Day. We look forward to celebrating this auspicious occasion with you.
Thank you, Malcolm. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Bhavani. Thank you, Dr. Bhavani, also for your warm welcome to our speakers and guests and for your attunement to today's session. I want to invite now, as you said, Charu ma'am, and welcome her to our digital stage and address her keynote. Charu ma'am, a warm welcome. Thank you that you're here.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and a very happy Women's Day to everybody. Uh, Before I talk about the initiatives which we are taking up in CRPF with the help of Professor Bhavani and her team at Amrita University, just wanted to go back to a couple of personal experiences just to set the context. It is now 25 years in service for me, and initially when I started out with a strong belief in the complementarity of both men and women, when I got into service, I was shocked to see that no one else thought that way. And right from the first posting onwards, when I handled several districts as the police head, I found there was a lot of initial resistance and doubts everywhere, at every place, about whether she can handle that particular posting or not, whether it was seniors or whether it was subordinates, both. So I found that ability, which I believed did not depend on gender, again, that was not what everybody believed. My first inspector, who was a subordinate in my first posting, was dead sure that I would never be able to handle the faction violence, the faction feuds in that particular area. Subsequently, when they saw that she could handle it, acknowledgement would come, but very grudgingly. So all throughout, the two main issues have been acceptance and acknowledgement of what a woman can do. There always seemed to be a boys' club who had acceptability of men's eccentricities, but not acceptability of women's eccentricities. So, in personal and professional life, most of us had to make very different choices, which were not as per the expectations of either society or the profession. And now, after so many years of service, what I find very interestingly is that as you go up the ladder and the posts at the top are few, women are dropped out of the race many steps back. And very few women hardly get to the top simply because they're not allowed to. Ability, experience, or levels of competence do not matter. And so women often at this level get confined to office administration, provisioning, logistics, rather than the field, which many women actually love. I found that the way a man navigates through his career is very different from the way a woman navigates. And men start with an advantage that their authority is usually not questioned. So, realizing this very fast in our careers, we all learn to navigate. In fact, every posting, we would give 3-4 months time for the men to get used to our style, our approach, and our priorities. And these first 3-4 months in every posting would actually be the most difficult ones. There would be many senior men who would appreciate and value our work and give us opportunities, but there would be a larger number of men who could simply not accept us. Even if we brought the sun and the moon down to earth, there would not be an acceptance or acknowledgement of the work done. So having faced all this, the challenge we were facing was, how can I make the way easier for other women who come after me? And recently, there were a few WhatsApp groups of male officers who were talking amongst themselves. And they were not very kind to the idea of women being brought into combat roles. Along with that, one of the main issues which I came across when I joined Bihar sector about 3 years back was that wherever we would speak to the men seemed a little unhappy. And they seemed unhappy because out of a career span of about 35 to 38 years, the CRPF man would stay away from family for about 25 to 27 years. So he was in the habit of only having long distance relationships with the wife, children, parents. And there were several issues at home. He felt that he could not participate in several functions at home, in the life at home, in his children's life, in their education, in their upbringing, and that would leave him feeling sad. But when I asked the CRPF boys that if I give you a posting for the next 10 years of your life near home, would you be happy? And the immediate answer was that Ma'am, how is that possible? A home brings its own problems, its own set of problems with it. So then my next question was, if you're not happy where you are posted, and if you're not happy at home, then where would you be happy? And in what situations or what circumstances would you actually be always happy? And there was no answer. So that set me thinking on what is the solution which I could find for these men. Coupled with this, there was an issue of suicides. And this is an issue across all the forces, armed forces, paramilitary forces. And there are several reasons for it. From my understanding of the working style, the working culture, the pressures at home, my understanding was that this was probably because of the burden of patriarchy, because the man felt that all his life he has to take care of his family, his parents, his wife, his kids, the house repair, the house construction. He has to take care of his younger siblings. And so very soon, most of these men, by the time they would reach 40 years of age, I find that they were getting burnt out. They were really burdened by this responsibility. So we decided to experiment. The first experiment was in Bihar sector, where we trained about 45 trainers. And what was beautiful was to see that just having conversations actually created an awareness and actually helped them to check their own thought processes as far as women were concerned. And what was even more beautiful was how after these conversations, they translated these conversations into action in their own lives. And it was interesting to see how the gender dynamics at home with their spouses started changing. That was very encouraging. And after that, we tried again a similar experiment in Jammu, which was a little constrained because of COVID. And then we came down here to Srinagar. When I had these discussions with Professor Bhavani, and it was wonderful to see how beautifully she understood the significance of this initiative. And I'm very, very grateful to Professor Bhavani and her entire team from Amrita University to help us out with this initiative. They have designed the entire content, the delivery. They will be doing the hand-holding for us for the next 1 or 2 years. And the idea is, again, to create a pool of master trainers across all battalions, and then to create a first line of trainers, and subsequently then to reach out to all the 25,000 men who are here in Kashmir. We look forward to this initiative, and we definitely look forward to seeing the impact of this initiative. In fact, the master trainers who were roped in for this project, initially on the first day, I was a little worried and a little concerned with their attitude. And in 14 days, I'm really very proud and very happy to say that the Amrita team actually created a miracle with these boys. In 14 days, I found that they were their levels of resistance had come down drastically. They were more open, they were listening, they were contemplating, and they were actually churning an idea in their mind. And they were coming back with a very, very, very positive approach. I'm really grateful for that. Now the issue for us is that when we talk about equality, we also need to talk about equity. Where can we raise the bar? And for us today, as on date, it is all about men accepting women in their lives as equals. And for our bit of contribution to the forces, it would be wonderful if we are able to create pools of men who are open to having conversations about these issues, and conversations which would actually lead them to accept and make more space for women colleagues a little more easily. We are also trying to bring in women into combat roles for the first time in the country. And before that, the challenge is to build acceptability amongst the men. What we can all achieve together is really unimaginable. And with a lot of gratitude to Professor Bhavani and her team, I would just like to say thank you, Amrita. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charu. Charu ma'am, and thank you also for your positive feedback regarding the collaboration. Indeed, we are really we highly appreciate to collaborate with you as a CRPF inspector, a female general, and also thank you very much for your wonderful speech pointing to female leadership in respect to acceptance and acknowledgement. It was really very insightful. Thank you very much. So let us go to our next wonderful speaker, Kelly Cutrone. Kelly Cutrone, we are really very happy to have you also here. And I would like to invite you to address your keynote. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure if she's joined. There is some mix-up in the timings with
There's a
Kelly.
mix-up, yeah,
So.
Then I would go over to our invited speaker, Mr. Jeff Robinoff. Mr. Jeff Robinoff,
Thank you.
founder and CIO of the Studio 8. Warm welcome. Thank you that you're here. I'm handing over to you.
Thanks very much. Honored to be a part of International Women's Day. I come to this from obviously a male perspective, but also a male perspective of being a single dad of two young girls, 12-year-old and 15-year-old daughters, and raising them on my own has given me a unique and really powerful perspective on the challenges that they face in society. And, in this time of, the Me Too movement and continuing glass ceilings and things that I've experienced firsthand in my 30 years in the film industry, it's just so important, I think, that these issues are addressed, and not just for my children, but for all women. The exciting thing for me about this is really the medium. It's the power of film and the power of storytelling, that can break barriers, can break gender barriers, can break racial barriers, can break all sorts of perspectives and perceptions of how people see each other. It's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And storytelling combined with a visual medium is just so impactful. And I think this really, gives the opportunity, and I'm excited to see it, to put out ideas, to put out images, to present things that are challenging, that create debate, that change perspective, that open dialogue. And film can do that. Film can present those opportunities for social change. And I'm excited to see what everybody does. I really believe in the medium. I really believe in the mission. And I'm honored to be a part of it. So thank you for asking me to participate. And I'm really excited to see what people present.
Thank you very much, Jeff. We also highly appreciate that you're here. And I would like to use the next couple of seconds to welcome our head of departments, Mr. Nada Kumar Sir and Sriram Devanathan. So a warm welcome from our side. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Most welcome. So now I would like to invite Niti AP to address the keynote. A warm welcome. Thank you that you are here. And I'm handing over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you for the lovely introduction, and it's a privilege to celebrate International Women's Day with all of you. We are very grateful to our most beloved Amma for the opportunity to establish the Reika Memorial Scholarship for Women's Empowerment and Education. This award is named in memory of my mother, in tribute to her passion for empowering young women and her enduring commitment to education. The annual scholarship will sponsor one female student to complete the 2-year residential degree in Master of Social Work at Amrita University. The MSW program is affiliated with India's first ever UNESCO Chair on Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment at Amrita University, supporting progress towards achieving the 2030 UN Agenda for Sustainable Development. Through this scholarship, we wish to recognize and reward outstanding civic involvement, academic achievement, and compassionate character in young women who are dedicated to bettering their communities and who have a record of active engagement in social service. Reika Aib dedicated her life to improving the cause of literacy and education, with a special focus on children and young people. She pioneered and developed the Joy of Reading program in schools and educational institutes across Mumbai. She was also actively engaged in volunteering and fundraising for causes to alleviate social issues, including with Embracing the World, UNICEF, CRY, Society for the Education of the Challenged, and supporting various schools and orphanages across India. Amma reminds us that true leadership is not to dominate or control, but to serve others with love and compassion, and to inspire women and men alike through the example of our lives. It has been a privilege to work with Dr. Bhavani and her team, who are the epitome of leading by example in the area of selfless service. So on this International Women's Day, it's a joy for my family to honor Mum's memory and support young women in becoming active role models in the field of social work and sustainable development by nurturing the next generation of rising women leaders. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And again, a warm welcome. It's wonderful to have you. So I am just double checking if Kelly Kutomim could join. I think she couldn't join yet, isn't it?
No, she is not joined.
Yes. Okay. Good. Then let us continue on our agenda. I would like to welcome now one of our colleagues. She's going to address gender etiquette and film competition. Radhika Chetty, one of our dear colleagues at AMMACHI Labs. Wonderful to have you also amongst us today, and I'm handing over to you. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, Radhika is sharing her screen. I can also share some words about her work in workshops of all age groups. And drawing from her background in theater, music, and yoga, she combines all practices together and comes up often in terms of tinkering and electronics with very innovative solutions. So Radhika, I'm handing over to you.
Just 1 second, and Radhika will be going on. We're just having a slight computer issue here. Yes, you're on screen.
Thank you, Dr. Menta. I'm really glad to announce that for the very first time, the UNESCO Chair and the Center for Women's Empowerment and Gender Equality are launching the first annual film competition. This year's theme is Gender Etiquette and Behavior Change. It's no surprise that when Forbes magazine reported that the global screen time in 2020 has almost zoomed up to 7 hours per adult, that we thought there has to be a way that we can ensure that the social media consumption and the general media consumption that our students and our youngsters have needs to be meaningful and needs to be meaningful, and also ensure that the social norms that are being created are influenced by media that is meaningful. Keeping this in mind, the purpose of our annual film competition was to encourage students to engage with media and messaging and identify problematic gendered behaviors, question stereotypes, and call out biases that are prevalent in today's educational settings, in their classrooms, in their virtual spaces, and in public spaces and in schools. We want you to engage in meaningful ways and use it to represent new social norms and for these behaviors. We now invite all of Amrita's students to submit a 30-second video from all campuses. We encourage all our faculty and staff to spread the word about this competition. We have several great prizes, including cash prizes, industry-level certificate courses, and an internship with Amrita TV, the 24-hour global Malayalam channel that has redefined entertainment perspectives of Malayalis from across the globe. We're extremely delighted to announce that who our judges are for this is IS Radha Chauhan, filmmaker Shekhar Kapoor, Jeff Robinoff, Johnny Guest, and Kelly Cutron. There is more information about this competition on our websites. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Reika. Thank you very much. Let us go to our next presentation from our colleague Muna Bonin. Yeah, Muna Bonin has been working in the realms of women's empowerment and has a 15 years proactively based working experience in various projects. And she's currently a PhD student and a very dear colleague of ours. Yamuna, a warm welcome. I'm handing over to you to present one of our.
Thank you, Dr. Nandita, and good morning to all. We are very thrilled here to launch the Smart SHG project to celebrate the International Women's Day. This project aims at maximizing the benefits of women's saving group in terms of women empowerment and also in terms of poverty alleviation. So this women's saving group has a lot of advantages that has been noticed by researchers and also that has been seen in society. First is that women have access to finances, which is called financial inclusion. And so they have the capacity and the possibility to actually make decisions on how to spend the money at home. And so they can choose for the education of their kids or choose for also best health solution. And also they benefit from social support from the group they are in. And in terms of poverty evaluation, this is a great alternative to loan sharks. So we can see here that there's many advantages to this women's saving group. In terms of challenges, we know that women usually have less education level than men, so they are struggling to actually keep good accounting and financial management of the group. There's also a lack of access to people to train them and support them in this management, because we are speaking about some kind of banking activities. And there's also a diversity of implementation models, which also may lead to some misuse in terms of different policy in terms of interest rate or other practices. And also one important challenge that women have faced during this lockdown has been the capacity to meet together physically and be able to keep going with that. So in order to address and multiply all the advantages of this practice, we are offering this new project, which has three main components. One is a financial and entrepreneurship training. The second one is a gender inclusive soft skill development, because it is proven how much women require to also develop their soft skill in terms of being effective into some business opportunities and access all the resources that they need. So they need to build their confidence and get a better understanding of what is at stake in terms of gender. And for that, we're also developing a technological tool that will support women's self-learning, peer learning, and the management, and better understand what is at stake during the activity. So the pilot is going to reach out to 30 SAG coordinators for now, and we hope to go much further in several states in India. So here is the team of the project. They are all wonderful and very excited to start this project. Thank you all, and we seek your blessing for the success of this amazing initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Yamuna. Thank you for the short outline of one of our beautiful projects. I would like to now go to our next colleague, Reshma Ramesh. She's going to present Women in Sustaining the Environment, WISE project. And Reshma is currently a research associate at the Center for Women's Empowerment and Gender Equality and the PI of the WISE project. And she has been associated as our previous speakers for quite a while with AMMACHI Labs. And she enriched with her skill sets also various other projects. Thank you very much, Reshma. I'm handing over to you. Warm welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Malcolm. Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Today, I'll talk briefly about yet another project at the center, which is WISE, Women in Sustaining the Environment. It is a collaborative research project between Amrita Vishwavidyapitham and Tel Aviv University, Israel. The WISE project envisions in promoting community resilience and natural resource management through women's empowerment and skill development. The project was first piloted in 2 flood-affected villages in Kerala, which is funded by the Consulate of Israel to South India. The next rollout or the next phase will focus on a community-driven, continuous low-cost monitoring of water quality that would help improve awareness within the targeted communities on water status and efficient and safe use of drinking water. The aim of the project is sustainable water governance by supporting women's participation in choice, maintenance, and management of water resources. In terms of outcome, the project brings forward a participatory vulnerability assessment to understand what are the current issues that is existing in the village related to water. And with the help of this assessment, we also look forward in carrying in community mobilization towards the intervention, also assess appropriate technologies for women to understand water quality parameters. The second outcome would be empowerment, where a committee of 8 to 10 women will be formed as women water officers, and they will carry out water quality monitoring tests and identify improved and safe access. The third outcome would be an action plan where the data collected from this project will be maintained by the community and the women water officers, which will be then used to improve their awareness on water quality, evaluate their safety practices, and disseminate this knowledge to interact with the local authorities. The project also provides avenues for women in negotiating discussions with the local government and bringing in relevant resource allocation. Meanwhile, the technical team will also develop an AI-based tool to identify high and low risk areas in terms of access. The WISE project will be operated in 4 states in India, which is Kerala, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Himachal Pradesh. This will be the team, which consists of water experts, engineers, and social scientists. And we look forward for a successful rollout. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reshma. So I am very happy and delighted that I may present the next topic on greening the mobile technology life cycle. I'm going to share my screen. So greening the mobile technology lifecycle, transcending the gender-digital divide with vocational education, entrepreneurship, and e-waste management. With that project, as we have seen also in the introduction, we are addressing one of the most global challenges, and with a focus, of course, in India, from a bottom-up approach. And I'm honored to work with a wonderful team together with Dr. Bhavani, Dr. Keshavan, my dear colleague Shrida Sheshradi, and 2 of our PhD students, Saba and Rasika. So in that project, we are addressing, if you focus on the circles, on 3 areas. We want to empower women. It's a women's empowerment project, the digital empowerment and equality. We want to accomplish socio-cultural environmental empowerment. And the third outcome is aimed for the socio-economic empowerment. And we have a wonderful path which comes from our best practice gained throughout the last 10 years. And we are going to train women, especially in the skills of repairing and maintenance. I'm going one slide back, maintenance of mobile phones. And in here, we are aiming especially for an incubating of women's entrepreneurs mobile phone tablet repair business. We want to foster women's entrepreneurship in the repair and maintenance, and as well promoting an e-waste and green management strategy, especially with focus on women. So how we are going to do that? We are having 2 major pillars. One goes through the path of vocational educational training with our very unique Amrita curriculum, in which we combine education for livelihood and education for life. And especially education for life addresses life skills and gives also skills in entrepreneurship, so that we empower through our vocational educational training, next to our professional skills, the women, which are then our champions, if you so want, to formate self-help groups in 3 distinguished areas, which is Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. And these SHGs are going to be function as multiplicators on a community level. So it's really a bottom-up approach in a tight collaboration with the industry, especially with a woman-centric effort and focus. So in here, just brief, we are very interested to empower our women to be a stakeholder between the individual households and the industry, to gain competence in buying and selling mobile phones, and gain with that livelihood and be a positive influence in their area. Yeah, this is one of our projects regarding a green mobile phone repair, mobile phone and tablet repair and recycle e-waste management system. Thank you very much. So now I'm continuing with my moderation on our next speaker, which is Dr. Malini. Dr. Malini is one of our senior researchers, a wonderful professor, and through her beautiful interaction with the students at the Center for Women's Empowerment and Gender Equality and her expertise, especially in mental health, makes her to one of our really very most dear senior researchers. So, Dr. Malini, a warm welcome to you, and handing over to that you can address the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Nandita, very much. An inspiring international program such as this to celebrate the strength of women and gender equality really requires the contributions of a multitude of people. We are deeply grateful to all of you who have participated in one way or another to this event. First, of course, we thank our HOD, Dr. Bhavani, whose creative and dedicated leadership inspires collaborations such as this. To our wonderful invited guests, Charles Sinha, Jeff Robinoff, Nidhi Zacharias, thank you all very much for your words of wisdom and your inspiration. To those from the UNICEF Steering Committee members, thank you for your support and participation in this program. We thank all of our faculty members from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, including Dr. Sridham Devanathan, Dr. Tarek Rashid, Dr. Nandakumar Nair, Dr. Pradeep Chakareddy, and to all professors and directors and HODs from Amrita. A warm extension of gratitude to the Department of Mass Communication at our sister campus in Etiquette, Tamil Nadu, and also to the faculty and the students of that department. Thanks to all of our hardworking staff from AMMACHI Labs and the Center for Women's Empowerment and Gender Equality. Many of them worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this event a successful one. We also thank Amrita's IT department, whose help also made this event possible. And to all the students and faculty of our MSW program, to our PhD candidates from the E4Life program and from AMMACHI Labs, we're really happy that all of you joined. Many others joined us from YouTube, and we thank you also very much for participating in this program. Finally, to our most revered Chancellor of Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, whose wisdom, compassion, and unparalleled leadership have inspired so many to work for the betterment of the world and for gender equality. We offer our deepest and most humble gratitude and respect. Thank you to everyone. Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, and Namah Shivaya, Dr. Malini, as well. Thank you very much for your warm words and heart-opening perspective and word of thanks. So before we conclude, dear guests, dear colleagues, and dear students, I would like to finally mention that in keeping with the theme of International Women's Day, we would like to conclude with a short video featuring the women and men from our villages and our Amrita MSW students pledging to take a stand against gender inequality. Let us all make the pledge and choose to challenge. Thank you very much from my side also. Thank you, Dr. Bhavani, to initiating and promoting this event. And I am inviting my colleague to share the screen and play the video. Thank you very much.
हम सब लोग प्रतिज्ञा लेते हैं समाज में असमानता पूर्वाग्रह को दूर करना, विधवासियों को चुनौती देना और एक समाजसेवी दुनिया बनाने में सबकी मदद करेंगे और हम अपने जीवन में अच्छी तरह से इसका चयन करेंगे। ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ।
ଜୀବନରେ ସମାଜକୁ ଆଗକୁ ନେବା ପାଇଁ ఇచ్చా రఖిబా మనమందరం అసమానతను తొలగించడానికి సమాజంలో పక్షపాతానికి సాంప్రదాయవాదులు চ্যালেঞ্জ জানাতে এবং একটি অন্তর্ভুক্ত বিশ্ব গঠনে সহায়তা করব অঙ্গীকার করছি।
आज जिंदगी के इस मुकाम पे हूँ जहाँ ये समझती हूँ जियो और जीने दो। I stand against the stereotypes. Happy Women's Day.
Hey, my name is Vineet Nobu. I choose to challenge gender inequality at all places in life.
So on this International Women's Day, I challenge gender stereotypes and bias.
Thank you everyone again, and